like to start today by telling you all a story. It was the first football game of the season, and everyone on campus was really excited, or should have been really excited. All the commuters, however, were kind of miffed, because we normally have to park in the football stadium parking lot. When there's a game going on, we get shunted another 1.5 miles away. So, we deal with a lot of prejudice like that at school anyway, so we dealt with it. And I had a pretty normal day until I was waiting for the shuttle to get back to my car at the end of the day. I waited 15 minutes, then 30, and then I heard some girls saying they had been waiting for a full hour and there had been no shuttle, and they could not even get the police escort support system because the traffic from the game was blocking the roads. So with a sinking feeling, I realized I had two choices. I was either going to sit there all night and wait for the bus, or I was going to walk 3 miles with my backpack. You can guess which option I grudgingly chose. By the time I got to my car, I was infuriated and ready to strangle anyone wearing my school colors. Promise I'm not normally like that. And I even passed several shuttles because they were on the different side of the road than I was used to or expecting. As you can tell today, I'm going to talk about parking, specifically university parking. We've all had some experience with it at some point or another, and it's a problem. At my university, at other universities, and though I'm focusing on my college in particular, I hope you all can sympathize and gain some inspiration to fight this problem. As you can tell, I'm very personally involved in this issue and have spent probably too much time thinking about it and coming up with solutions. So today, I hope you'll listen to me as I tell you about the problem with the parking system at my school, how I think we can solve it, the good this will do to the student body, and how you can get involved in this and in the larger issue of parking rights. So let's start off by thinking about the problems. At heart, I belong to a commuter school. According to the U.S. News Best College List, 83% of our students in 2015 were commuters. Yet if you go online and read the current parking policy, you see that many commuters get the worst of parking, specifically undergrad commuters like me. We have to park all the way out of the stadium and take a shuttle in, day out. On-campus students, on the other hand, who live literally right next door to the class buildings, get to park right on campus. Doesn't that strike you as a little unfair, especially since they don't need the parking and we do? I think we deserve at least a chance to get better parking, especially since the lot where we normally park at the stadium has its own set of inconveniences. You saw some of them in my introductory story, but then there's also the infuriating problem when there is this huge, beautiful swath of open spaces, but it's reserved for people who never park there. And garages, I'm not even going to get into how much they cost if you want to park in a garage every day of every semester. So with these discouraging facts, what can we do to help? I've come up with some solutions. First, I think we would ideally have a first-come, first-served policy for undergrad parking. Instead of pushing commuters to the back of the line, we could have a system something like class registration that's based on year in school, last name. It rotates every semester. This could promote more unity in our student body by giving them something to commiserate about at the very least. A second solution, and a pretty obvious one, is to expand the available parking. According to our school profile, in 2015 to 2016 alone, we spent $22,428,528 on capital outlay. But just a fraction of that was for parking. And that parking is limited to residents of the new mega luxury dorms. I say, why don't we use some of that huge sum of money to build parking that benefits the whole student body and not just those who can afford to live in these fancy dorms? The third solution, if we can't get any of the others to work, I think we could at least expand parking at the football lot. The layout how it is currently is that there's one lot that's ideal because it's right by the shuttle, and another across the road, which is a pain to park in. However, only about 1/2 to 2/3 of the main lot is even available at any given time. There's a huge section reserved for student athletes, whom I love, but when they never use more than half of their spaces, why do we have so much roped off? And then there's my personal favorite, reserved for the athletic ticket office and special event parking. Let me translate. We'll torture you with these open spots while you're zigzagging back and forth, making up excuses why you're going to be late for class. I think we should leave these spaces open unless they're actually needed. And if there's a game going on, it might not be such a bad idea to allow students with the purple stadium permits to try their hand at parking on campus just for once. So now that you've got an idea of what we can do to change the problem with parking at my school, I want to give you my vision of what it might be like if we implemented these changes. Let's look at a commuter senior registering for classes, and he's just a click away from getting his permit. This semester, he's lucky and gets a yellow on-campus permit, the reward of all his labors in school so far. Another student isn't as lucky and gets a purple permit, but at least she knows there will always be space. A resident student buys a permit for the new garage. It's a little bit far from his dorm, but at least he won't have to go there every day. And finally, maybe this is just me getting fanciful, but what if we had a commuter and a resident, different states they came from, different majors, but they met because they parked together? That's just my fanciful ideas. So now it's time to talk about what you all can do. Obviously, not all of you, or probably not most of you, go to my school, but I'm sure all of you know or are a commuter student at some college. If you know these students, encourage them to talk to their university offices about the parking problems in their own schools, or talk to their student government. At my school, we recently elected a student government president who is very sympathetic to parking rights. Then you could encourage them to write to the student newspapers, which are a powerful protest force. Spread the word on social media, and so forth. And any of you, even if you're not a student, you can spread the word by word of mouth. Remember, every movement starts with just a few people, and you could be the people who change the face of parking in the American colleges. So in conclusion, I hope you can see that the parking system at my school, and at many schools, is inadequate, but you can have some hope for the future because there are solutions possible, and you are empowered to do something about it. So thank you for your time, and let's go out and make a difference with liberty and parking for all. Thank you.